So
Congratulations.
and one of them literally just got an offer on late last night, and I listed it what Saturday. So, but the other one that I have, and I actually went on the lower end for that one. Now the other one is listed for 665 or something like that. I thought it was pretty high. It went to the higher end because of that's what the seller was trying to kind of push
Yeah,
me to.
yeah.
Although I tried to go a little bit lower. So I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that one.
Yeah, so that's very good, great example because so what the way we create leverage is so if you're in that price range of 150 to 170, and this is where I can use my experience in saying, here's my experience over the years. Back in the old days, we'd price it at that 170, and then to get this kind of price here. You no longer, no, you don't want to do that from a leverage standpoint because what's the kiss of death in this market right now? There's two things that will stall a deal pretty quickly. One is if you have to reduce a price, especially where we're still in a seller's market, if you're reducing the price, you're admitting we way overpriced our house because even if it was overpriced a little bit, you would have received an offer. So what ends up happening when you reduce your price is now you got blood in the water. Okay? Now the sharks are going to come out because now they see the blood, and then you're going to be negotiating further from there. And then the other thing that kills a deal is a fall through. And we'll get to another point. But from a pricing standpoint, so I will pretty much tell my clients every time if you're going to make more money listing this house mid to the bottom of that range. Because what we want to do is, let me put it this way. David Mueller, would much rather negotiate up from list price than down from list price. And I'll tell it to
Mhm.
my seller, would you rather negotiate up from list price or down from list price? Well, up from list price, 100%. So what we want to do is we want to price it so we get as many people looking at the house as possible, create as many people going through there. This is a numbers game, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. The more people we get through as far as showings, and the more showings you have, the more offers you're going to get. And then what we want to do, this is where I love being a realtor, is now we start pitting people against each other. Not in that sense, the way I'm saying it right now. Now we start leveraging buyers against each other. So we get 6, 7 offers. What's going to end up happening? I guarantee you've got 6, 7 offers. You probably have an escalation clause saying, I will beat your best offer by $2,000 up to a max of. Then what's the other thing that usually comes along with that too when we start escalating? We get appraisal gap language, meaning that hey, so let's say we've got it listed that same scenario 150 to 170. We have it listed at 150, 157. We will take care of any appraisal gap between list price and the price that it ends up being. So let's say, and I've got listed at 157, I'm only pretty much committing that I can get to appraise for 157. Okay. And then the buyer's going to say, I will take any appraisal gap between the 157, let's say it sells for 171 is the escalation clause. Then they're going to take care of that difference between that. So all I've listed for is 157. Now, if I list at 170 and you get an offer for 170, if it doesn't appraise, guess what you're probably going to be doing after the appraisal? You're going to be renegotiating that down as well. Okay.
Mhm.
So that's why you're always not 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 times you're better off pricing it right where it needs to be. Because guess what? This is one phrase you should learn by heart. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, what I think your house is worth, nobody cares. Absolutely no one cares what David Mueller, the realtor, thinks. What you think your house is worth, 100% matters because you've got to feel good about an offer you take or don't take. But what we want to find out is a buyer that's pre-approved with money in their pocket, if they see it, what do they think? And at the end of the day, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm not going to determine the market price. You're not going to determine the market price or the list price or the sales price. The market is going to tell us what that is worth. So what we want to do as realtors and as sellers is create an environment where we can get as many offers as possible and let the market speak to us. The market at the end of the day is going to tell us what it's worth. And if we get more people through, more eyes on your property, we will get more money. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And then, and how you're going to jack that price up is with escalation clauses, is with appraisal gaps, waiving, waiving,
Inspection.
waiving inspections. And then here's another little caveat with multiple offers. So I'm going to bring this up a little bit. Is know how we've gone through this commission thing, where pretty much every buyer's agent now is negotiating their own commission. And if you're not making an offer of compensation, or let's say you're only offering 2.5%, and they've got something with their buyer at 3%, and you have multiple offers now, and you can now pretty much dictate that the compensation is going to be 2.5%. Okay, it's not. But if you're going the other way in a seller's market, and you've reduced your price, you haven't sold it, and now you got like this gal to Kathy saying, "Bring me an offer." They're motivated. My commission is 3%. Period. End of story. We're not my buyer's not negotiating. I have that with my buyer. If you're not willing to pay that, we'll go buy the second house. So that's another way you're saving money or getting more money for your clients. Does that make sense? All
Yes.
right. So that's how you're utilizing leverage. Okay. Now, there's going to come a day soon where in our market, it's going to turn back to a buyer's market. It's probably not going to be for 3 or 4 years, but
Mhm.
We've been saying that for 3 or 4
well, that's
years.
true. But that dynamic is going to shift.
Wow.
And again, you're going to have to work from a standpoint of how do you utilize that leverage aspect again. But does that make sense, Charisse? And
Yeah, oh, for sure. I'm definitely
it
kind of kicking myself in the butt because it's like it's one of those
no,
things where you want to say no. And I did. I talked them down, just a little, not talk them down, but I recommended that, it really is a strange place, especially in the DMV area, where some things can sit for 2 days, some things can sit for 6 months. It's like
yeah,
really weird. And
Yeah.
so, and then the attachment piece to it, it's their dad's house. It's,
there's
he's getting old,
emotional.
it's emotional to it. So they of course think it's way more worth than,
Yep.
what the market is saying. So yeah, we're gonna
So,
see.
so,
It's
so
only
how
been a
I
week.
handle that situation personally is I'd say 100%. I get the emotional aspect, but Sharice, that's one of the reasons why I'm here too. Because
Yeah.
yes, I care deeply about the situation, what that means to you, and things like that. But I don't have that same emotional attachment to the house, so I can give you unbiased opinion. And
Hmm.
one of the things that I wanted to just bring to your attention, and one of the things I would also do is, Sharice, the only reason you're not as confident about going like I would go is
Hmm.
because this is your first few times doing this.
Hmm.
So how I'd go in there, I'd be extremely confident and I'd say, here's the deal. I totally get what you're saying, but this is where I need you to trust me on this, is
Hmm.
that I understand we have the same goal.
Hmm.
I have the same goal to get you as much freaking money as I can get because we all win in that situation. I also want to keep the prices up in the neighborhood because I'm going to have more business in this neighborhood. So I want to do that for you, for the neighborhood, everybody. I want to create a win-win situation. But the
Hmm.
way we get there, let me tell you why. And again, this is also, I also say, based on my experience, if we go here, we're going to create this, which is going to get us to where we need to be. And let me put it this way, if we list at this price and we don't get here, guess what? The market has spoke to us and we this is what it's worth, okay?
Yeah.
But you're
Yeah.
not going to be on the market for 120 days and become what I refer to as a white elephant, where you get the questions, okay, Sharice, why has that been on the market so long?
Hmm.
And then you got to start
That
answering those
money's being
questions.
sucked.
Yep. And that's just like a fall through. When we have a fall through because some finance person can't do it, or actually, I just read the statistics. 13% of all deals fell through last month. Okay, of all nationally. You have a fall through. The immediate question that I get when I relist it is, did it fall through on the inspection? And so now it's got a stigma of there's something wrong with the house. And that's just not the way this market is right now. But we want to avoid all those things. Okay. We want to create a competitive situation where we're able to use that leverage. And I will pretty much put my name and reputation on it that you will get more money 10 out of 10 times because you got more people in there. Does that make sense?
Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Say hello to
That's fine
Jennifer.
if I share something.
Absolutely.
All right. So I come from education field. I kept school districts out of lawsuits, but with the education background, us humans love visuals. So I'm going to try to see where I can shoot.
I saw it once.
Yeah, I saw it first.
Back up.
All right. Let's see if I can.
Right there. Up.
I'll go really slow.
Yeah,
So
that's
this
There you
exactly
go.
it.
Got it.
So this chart talks about your first few days on the market. This is your highest percentage of getting asking or above. And then it goes down as days add up. So when I'm talking to the seller, like we want to be here. So if you start up here on week 2, you're going to drop your price. You're already behind. And as you keep dropping, your buyers are down here. And then
Really good.
That's really cool.
And we've got someone locally that, oh, go ahead.
It's up really slow again. And then this is a chart that talks about big numbers because every now and then sellers will be like, I want to use my kids' birthdays for our pricing. And I'm like, no, we're going to hit big numbers because nobody looks for a house that's priced at $789, $137. Like we're going
Now,
on
that
big
is the
numbers.
first time I've ever heard that. That's funny.
And then my last one is a bullseye. And again, it's like same thing you guys were saying. It's just the visual behind it. And it talks about like if we're not even getting home tours, we're 25% overpriced. And then if we're getting home tours, but the agent's not calling and asking me a question, we're 15% overpriced. So it's just, you know, in 2 weeks when I have to have the conversation, I can be like, remember when we saw that chart that's the bullseye? So I don't know if that's helpful. It seems like it's
right. I
helping.
love those visuals.
Yeah, can you
Very-
send, can I get a copy? Just so, where
I
did you get that from?
Do we have comments? Throw your emails in the comments and
Our
I'll see
emails are in the comments already. So yeah,
Yeah,
go
so
for it.
Irvin and Sharice, put your emails in the comments.
But
Oh, I
it's
love it.
nice
We-
because, you know, 14 days later, when they're like, you know, nothing's happening, let's go back and revisit our conversation. And I feel like people only hear what they want to hear. But when you have like a chart or like that red bullseye, they're like, oh, yeah.
I love it.
we-
And they remember that. You're not going
They
to
do.
forget
It's like
that
that
bullseye.
visual with what you're hearing.
I use something that a local realtor taught me a few years back, and he used the analogy of, hey, you can have the greatest bass boat in the world with the most amazing rod and reel and the state of the art lures or worms and things like that, and you go in the best, most populated fish place in the world, and if the bait's here and the fish are here, you're not going to catch anything. Okay.
Amen.
And there's another thing that kind of went with that is you can be on the market or you can be in the market is another good thing that I've used that has been real good for some clients is you can be on the market where, you know, you're there, but you're not, you're priced, you're so out of price that no one's even looking at it. Or you can be in the market in the middle of things and creating multiple offers and things like that. And another point that I wanted to bring up also with multiple offers and things like that is so the strategy that we kind of look at is, so let's say you get 6-7 offers and we'll use that 150 to 170 range. So
I don't even know if anybody here works in that range.
oh
We
well,
hardly do.
well we'll say yeah,
It's
well,
okay.
yeah, we'll use 500,000. Okay. So let's say you have it
Yeah, that's
listed at $500,000, which is about what you have it listed at $500,000, and you get an offer for 520 cash. Okay. So you got one offer is 520 cash. And then you've got another offer where they're escalating, saying we'll beat your best offer by $5,000 up to a maximum of 531. But let's say it's conventional financing, or if you want to say FHA financing. Okay. How would you, if your seller says, what do you think we should do? Which I never try to tell my seller what to do. I'll give them the information so they can make an informed decision. But let's just use the term since it's just us. What would you tell your clients to do in that situation? Here's to hear your thoughts. 520 cash. Then you got another one. Basically, they escalated up to actually let's use 525. They escalated 5,000 more than your best offer up to a max of 531, but that 520 makes that a 525. But it's financing. How would you counsel your client?
Cash.
Would you? So you would tell them? Would you tell them to take the 520 cash offer?
Yeah, because we don't want the other folks to go buy a boat and no longer be able to afford the house.
All right, Charisse, what's your answer to that?
Actually, I don't know. Cash offers, especially at that price point, sometimes I don't know. I will have to see like when the closing is. I mean, who's they're lending with? Is it a hard money type of thing, or what are we looking at?
Irvin?
apparently, I mean, you would go for the cash. I mean, that seems like the simple way to go, I believe,
All right.
right?
So what are
I'm not gonna tell. I'm not gonna tell.
what are we discussing? What's the topic that we're discussing right now?
Okay.
We're discussing leverage.
Just offer for the
We're
seller.
discussing leverage.
And
Right,
yeah, and
leverage.
usually can't leverage with too much cash. I mean, that's it. Or can you? Okay, we're getting school. That's why we're
Okay,
here.
so the reason I bring this up is it's a two-step process. So to me, the first thing we want to choose is which buyer would we rather work with? And which buyer would we rather work with, the cash or the financing?
The cash would be more simple, I believe.
Yeah, I would always rather work with cash all day long. But now think about it from a leverage standpoint, okay? Why not leverage the 525 financed offer by going back to the cash offer and saying to their agent, saying, hey, you know what, this has been crazy. We end up getting 7 offers. You and another offer are very close, very, I mean, it's very identical offers. But I'll be straight up with you. We like the cash. If your client's willing to go to 525, we'll sign off on that offer right now. You're in primary position. We'll be ready to rock and roll.
Mm.
Doesn't that make sense?
Yes, of course.
Nobody.
I didn't get that
this.
answer. I didn't get that answer from.
But that we've talked to. Well, probably a bunch of people do now because you.
So but does that make sense though? Why
Yes,
not
it makes
leverage?
sense.
So pick the buyer you'd rather work with, but that also is why we want these multiple offers and escalation clauses and appraisal gap language. Like, because the other part would be too is, so let's say that 525 offer, they've got a full appraisal gap. Okay. So unlimited appraisal gap. Whatever it appraises for, we're buying it. That almost gets to a point where it's just as nice as the cash buyer. So I'm going to start going even deeper, and I'm start looking at earnest money deposits. Hey, what if one person puts a 50,000 EMD and the other person is 5? I look at that. I look at who the other agent is, because a lot of agents are idiots, and I'm gonna cover both sides of the deal. And they've been known to renegotiate after the contractor's inspection. They get in primary position, and then they want to renegotiate after the contractors. So we got to look at the gestalt. We got to look at the whole picture. What is the best buyer for us, including the agent, the lender? Is it a local lender? Is it going to be a local appraiser? Things like that. These are all things that come into that. And then we decide, do we want, then the other part you're thinking is, oh my God, Dave, we may lose the 520 cash offer though. We may, if we counter that, we're going to lose them. You might, but if you do it the right way and just kind of put it as, hey, wonderful offer, love it. We, as you know, we got multiple offers, and I would just put it out there. Hey, if your client can just get it up to 525, we will move forward with your offer. And basically, I wouldn't say it's only because it's cash and the other one's financing. I would kind of just put it at, they'll be able to assume that.
But
We've got
wouldn't the seller have the final say so on that?
we're talking this to our client. We're giving our
Right.
client the information to let them decide. Yeah, I don't
Okay.
decide anything. I
Right.
kind of tell them these are the different things that you could do, and
Okay.
they may just say, hey Dave, I don't want to screw around with this. I just want to take the 520. We're happy with that. We're good to go.
Okay.
And I'll say one of the things I can do is we can go back and try to leverage the 525.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And just real quickly, if you ever want to go, if you're ever going after a for sale by owner, I don't call for sale by owners or expireds. It's just not my thing. But I get for sale by owners that will call me to do a market analysis. Okay. And then what I end with, and most of the time, most realtors won't even go out. Hey, you're going to do for sale by owner. I don't want to waste my time. I'm not going to do it. I'll go out all day long. And the last thing I leave with them is that scenario we just talked about. And they will always say, oh, we would just take the cash at whatever amount, right? And then I go, well, why wouldn't you do this? Okay. And then the last one I went on, they said, we're in over our heads, aren't we, Dave? You know how to do this. We don't, what you just said, we wouldn't know how to, we wouldn't have known to do that and everything like that. What else don't we know? Will you list our house? So sometimes when you kind of, hey, do something like that, just give a scenario where it's something like that where most realtors wouldn't know what to do, or I shouldn't say wouldn't know what to do, would not even think about leveraging the other offer. Okay, so so the first thing is pick the buyer you want to work with. Is my recommendation. Is one buyer stronger than another? And then if their offer isn't as strong as one of the other ones, leverage that offer. Okay.
If somebody's coming in with $500,000 cash, they got the extra five.
Yes.
They're not
Yes.
typically worried about
Yes.
even 10 or 20. It's mind boggling.
And I would have to say that the percentage of times when I've done that the cash offer has said yes is probably around 80 to 85%.
I would have said 100.
So
I've never heard it not work.
and then one last thing I want to talk about with listings would be kind of a time frame to help create this. Okay. So we don't talk about timing very often as far as when to put houses on market, et cetera. Okay. So one of the things that we do, and especially if you're going to go in that mid to low part of the range, is so what we always tell our clients is let's go ahead and take photos at the end of a week or the beginning of a week. Okay. So like on a Monday. And then what I would love to do, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is I'd like to get that on the market as a coming soon. And not because of all this BS you're reading about with Zillow and Compass and all the kind of stuff. That's all BS. We put it on the market. We want everyone to see it. I'm not trying to hide it from anybody. This is just something where we can do some pre-marketing on it to get it out. Also to create some extra buzz as well, because we start allowing showings the moment we have it as coming soon. So, but we will take pictures on Monday. We'll make it coming soon, Tuesday, hopefully, maybe on Wednesday. And then we'll start showings on Friday. Okay, we'll start showings on Friday and we'll have an open house on Sunday, 1 to 3. Now, why do we do that with that timing as opposed to starting showings on a Monday or Tuesday? Anybody have an idea why we really like that? So Jennifer, you look like you know the answer.
I was half listening, but
Oh, that's right.
I like to start on a Thursday because people don't start planning their weekend until around Thursday.
So this is the main reason why I like to do it. Let's say you start showings on Monday or Tuesday and you get an offer right away. Um, I think it's kind of a douche move, excuse the terminology, to hold on to those offers until the weekend or to Monday. So a buyer writes an offer on Monday or Tuesday and you're holding on. That to me is, it just, I feel dirty. I don't like it at all. Now think
Well, and it's
about from
so mean
different.
to the buyer.
What's that?
So mean to the buyer. Like they're
It's
ready to get this wrapped up and start planning on moving.
Yeah. And so a great way to explain this to your seller as well is put yourself in the buyer's position and that happens. And you want to kind of hold off. And I'll have some sellers that would have no problem doing that all day long. But you start your pre-marketing and coming soon on Tuesday or Monday, like Tuesday and Wednesday. The reason I like to start showings on Friday is, so let's say you get that offer in on Friday right away, first day on market. Don't you think it's reasonable to say, hey, thank you so much for that offer? You know, the seller wants to let, you know, we obviously we held it off the market for a couple of days. The seller wants to give everybody an opportunity through the weekend to see the property and have a chance to look at the property. We're also going to be holding it open from 1 to 3 p.m. So the seller wants to let everyone have access to the home. And, you know, if we, you know, we will be presenting offers after the open house, or if we do a highest and best, I'll make sure to contact you. Isn't that fairly reasonable? If you get an offer on Friday to do that, it doesn't feel as slimy. Okay. So you got some pre-marketing time. You start seeing the showings right away. You start getting the feedback right away. And then here's another reason why it's kind of cool to do that open house on 1 to 3 on that Sunday too. Okay. What's one of the big calls that I get on Friday or Saturday when someone has an offer? Guess what the one of the biggest calls I get in what the agent asks for?
Will you stop the open house if I write today?
Mm-hmm.
I get that all the time. And guess what? What's my answer?
No.
You were,
No, it's
yeah,
not,
exactly.
that's not my
Accepting
answer.
offers.
No,
Are you still accepting
depends
offers?
on how well you write.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
No, that's not even what I say. I say, Charisse, write an offer that makes my seller not want to hold it open on Sunday. That's plain and simple. Write an offer that makes it so my seller doesn't want to hold the house open on Sunday. So what am I using that open house? And when they're going through and looking at it, I've got my open house Sunday 1 to 3's topper on that as well for a reason. Why? What is that open house serving for me?
Leverage.
More leverage.
There we go. So
I'm
we're not
understand.
just pulling this out of our proverbial you know what's, we're actually utilizing. So we're using that open house as leverage. And 100%, I would love to cancel it because most of the time it's me or one of my buyers. But I'm leveraging that. So they write 20,000 over list price. So they don't go to an open house. So I'm using the open house as leverage as well. Make sense?
Yes.
All right, so that's kind of using leverage from a listing standpoint. It's harder to create that from a buyer's agent standpoint, but we kind of want to how to create leverage from a buyer's agent standpoint. And we talked a little bit about the beginning, and I'm just going to kind of read what I wrote down from a buyer's agent standpoint, because this is the most crucial thing, which is you want to communicate with the listing agent, find out ideal terms for the seller, write offer that they can just sign. So meaning that everything's perfect. You got a large down payment. It's a quick close. It's a 60-day possession after closing because your client doesn't mind it. You write the right inclusions and exclusions in the contract. You basically ask all the right questions. You write it up so that they just need to sign it. Okay. The only way you're going to get that is by communicating with the listing agent. I can't tell you how many times when I've got an offer sent to me, I've not heard from the buyer's agent. They never let me know that they were sending an offer. It went to my spam. So if I didn't normally check my spam, I wouldn't have gotten the offer. But I check my spam like regular email because it happens all the time. And there's no communication. And guess what I, as the listing agent, think in that situation about the other agent? I'm going to be carrying both sides of the transaction. They're not going to communicate with me. They're not professional. I have doubts about whether this is going to get to the closing table. And it may be that they're a phenomenal agent in this, that, and the other thing, but I can only take things for face value. If you're not going to communicate with me in the most important part, which is trying to get your offer in primary position, I can only imagine once you're past that point how you're going to be in a transaction. So anyone that thinks that that does not affect a listing agent, you're wrong. Okay? Communicate, be professional, ask those questions. The person that picks up the phone and says, Dave, what's your ideal closing and possession time? What's important to your client? If they're asking, what's the seller offering compensation? I go back and forth on that from a listing agent. I like it when they ask me that. But as a buyer's agent, I never ask. But I do ask in a multiple offer situation because if they're only offering 2.5% and I'm trying to get 3%, that's going to affect the strength of my client's offer. Now, if it's in a situation like what she's going to write with no other offers, then like I said, I'm going to do. But in a multiple offer situation, I'm asking all those things because I want to write an offer that they're just going to sign. Does that all make sense?
Yes.
And never, ever, 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 ever send an offer to an agent and not call, text, and email saying, hey, just wanted to let you know I sent over an offer to you. In a great way to also do it, send bullet points of your offer. Hey, this is the price. This is the earnest money deposit. This is my inspection periods. So let's say like someone had a bad experience. They had a deal fall through on the contractor's inspection, and you write it. Hey, we're only asking for 3 days. We're gonna get this inspection done as soon as possible because I know how important that is to your client because they had a deal fall through. The only way you're going to glean that information is by communicating with the other agent. Okay. Find out the motivation of the seller. Why are they moving? What is important to them? And then, like I said, don't ask them what are they willing to accept. And I get that all the time.
Are they negotiable? Are they
Yeah,
flexible?
my standard line is everything in life is negotiable. You know what? And the other part, if you don't ever want to answer the question and you're concerned about how it comes off by saying, idiot, come on, I'm not telling you the price. Don't say idiot. Why? Come on, I'm not an idiot. Okay. Say this instead. Hey, Charisse, I understand the question, but one of the things that I do is I never really discuss price with my clients. I go over all the information from the comps and everything like that. They know what their house is worth and everything like that. I don't discuss with them for this very reason what they're willing to accept or not willing to accept. I'm a big believer in the market's going to tell us what it's worth. Okay. My suggestion, write the best possible offer that your clients are comfortable with, and let's see where that leads. That's my response. And I'm not a, I'm not it. I'm nice about it. I'm professional. Okay. But one of the things I want to say is you're not going to be comfortable with all these different things until you do it a few times too. Okay. And then when you actually see it, right now you're just going, this Mueller dude, he seems like a real arrogant bastard asshole. And again, how do I know that he knows what the hell he's talking about? Right? What will happen is down the road, I do this with my buyer's agents because we have discussions about how things are going to go. Then they go, Dave, it happened exactly the way you said it was going to happen. You will not know that any of this stuff is valid until you get into the business and you see it happen firsthand. And you go, well, Dave Mueller dude wasn't a douchebag as much as I thought he was. He actually had a few things that were right. So that's experience. That's going through it. Okay. And listen to a lot of different people of how they do it because we all do it differently. Okay. Here's a trick that actually worked on me one time. When you write an offer is, hey, so Charisse, you write an offer, you got multiple offers, or let's say they don't have multiple offers, but the agent tells you this, and you hear it all the time. I've had 4 agents tell me they're writing offers. right? So a lot of people will say, hey, let's wait and just see what the other offers come in. I don't want to be the first one in, right? Or what if we did this, Charisse? We write an offer, let's say 500,000. We write an offer for $510,000 and we say, we are going to give the seller a bonus of $10,000, meaning that we will pay $520,000 for the house if you accept this offer on or before 5 p.m. Let's say you're writing in the morning, by 5 p.m. this evening. We will pay $520 if it's accepted by 5 p.m. that evening. You send that to your client,
Mm-hmm.
and they go, holy, I mean, I get an extra $10,000 in my pocket. We thought it was worth 500. They offer 510. I get 520. If I accept by 5 p.m., Charisse, we're signing it.
Mm-hmm.
And in my standpoint, Charisse, is what I'm going to tell them is, hey, I can't tell you that we won't get multiple offers and it could go 530, 540. But I can tell you that if you sign this by 5 p.m. tonight, you've got 520.
Yeah.
And it worked on my clients.
Wow.
So
Wow.
is that a strategy you may want to use?
Yes.
It worked on me, who I wouldn't want to negotiate against me.
No.
And it worked for my client. And my job, like we talked about, Irvin, my job is not to tell my client what to do. The last thing I do is tell anybody what to do. I provide them with the information so they can make an informed decision of what they want to do. Will they ask me my opinion and things like that? Will I give it? Yes. After I've given them the information, I let them think about it. But most of the time they'll say, hey, Dave, we're really happy with 520. Is there a possibility we could lose this if we don't accept it by 5? And I would say, yes. So take that for what it is, a little tip from someone that doesn't work with buyers anymore. But I'm working with one buyer right now, and they are 1 to 1.3 million. We've lost 4 houses because 20 offers coming in on these things, which I can't believe in that price point. But that's what I will be using the next offer we write.
That little strategy, I have been working with buyers. I manage this team, so I don't know what's the time, but that strategy works when somebody's really committed. In my boat right here in Ann Arbor right now, we're being flooded with doctors. Well, doctors coming to do fellowships, and it's going to be a battle. But these kids got to know they have to be in a house by the middle of May. That's all there is to it.
That to me cries seller leverage, though.
It does, but there's a reason then when I say I'll give you 10 grand extra, they're motivated to get into that house. And yes, that is seller leverage, but it's a way you can help your buyer is you're in and get them out of a multiple where it could cost them $20,000 more. If you can do this right up front, it doesn't always work, but it's a way to help your buyer that's in situations like we're in right now.
Are you guys
So I want to
currently in the seller's market?
We're in a buyer's market here. Are you?
Oh,
The
so
seller's market.
Are you where? Jennifer, are you in what market are you in?
I'm in Phoenix metropolitan area. The
Oh,
north side is
you're in a buyer's market now, aren't you?
We're in a seller's market.
Yeah, Phoenix was one of the first ones to start. Yeah. So
We have this every year when they do the doctor matching.
the matching. Yeah.
And we have this 1 month of madness every
interesting.
year. But it stays the seller's market all year.
The
You
other
guys are-
little
Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Ann Arbor.
I have a little lake house over in Clinton Township.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's Ann Arbor is a phenomenon. I have a cottage on Lake Huron in a place called Oscoda, Michigan. But yeah, just have that's one of the things. That's one of the nice things about Michigan.
I live on the lake too. I get to go in.
We have lots of
Mhm.
lakes, and we have lots of golf courses,
Mm.
and we have University of Michigan. So, but one little thing I want to, especially for people that are working with buyers, is one of the ways that you can create leverage is is not necessarily going after homes that are in complete move-in condition. So the biggest difference in our market from today to 2 years ago is 2 years ago, anything was selling over list price, multiple offers, things like that. In our market today, buyers are much more demanding. So now, if it's a move-in condition, pristine, everything's updated, things like that, still the same market. The ones that are not moving are the ones that need a little bit of love and care, or they need some paint, they need some lipstick on pig type stuff. And that is the market where you can make some money right now and can create leverage, because any house that's staying on the market, the only ones that are staying on the market are ones that need a little bit of TLC. So if you've got clients that are saying, I want to get a deal and I want to be, I'm not paying list price or above, then one of the things that I would kind of recommend is maybe go after houses that need some, what I refer to as lipstick on pig type stuff, painting, flooring, things like that. That's also the best way to build equity. Okay. And then you can create leverage because it needs some work and things like that, especially if you have clients that are willing to do some of that. It's also a great way where we have contractors that are very affordable, and we'll go into a place and say, hey, I've got a painter that can help you with this. I've got a flooring guy that can help you with this. Let's negotiate it to get to a point where we can get it looking like those other houses that are going 50,000 over list price, and we're going to be able to negotiate down, and you're going to be able to get it looking exactly the way you want. And those are the houses that you can get a deal right now, and not necessarily in Ann Arbor proper, but like our outlying areas like Ypsilanti, Saline, Dexter, Chelsea. Um,
I gotta go show houses.
Yeah,
Boss,
I have another meeting, but
boss
this is
man.
actually very how this has been good. I mean, I like to hear what next week, because I do have a question about a couple of listing questions. But yeah, this is great. Thank you so much.
Just throw it in the
well,
chat. We'll talk
or
about it.
Oh, okay. I'm
if
just
and if you're
curious
not
if
and
you're
if you're
using
not
that.
and if you're heading out, Sharice, or you can, if you want, I will stay here and answer your questions unless you're heading out.
Yeah, I have another meeting. I got to meet someone, but I do have
Yep.
a question using your same scenario with
Yep.
the 5:20 if you do it by 5 p.m.
Yep.
In the case that, you run your numbers and you see that it might not appraise for that, like what's the leverage on that? So yes, you're taking it for 5:20, but then you're like, I don't even, is that not my business
Typically,
or
no. So anytime you start dealing
okay.
with escalation clauses, you're typically going to have appraisal gap language along with
Okay,
it.
gotcha.
And
Understood.
they
Okay.
also know with myself is that's one of the reasons why I price it at 500, because
Yeah.
all I'm guaranteeing is it's going to price for 500.
Okay.
You can put whatever offer you want in, and Kathy knows that you write me an offer for 550 without appraisal gap language. That's a 500 offer. It's not a
Okay.
550 offer.
Okay, got
Um,
it.
period.
Got
So
it.
if you're going to write over list price, there better be appraisal gap language. And if you don't put it in there, if they're going to get the house, it'll be full appraisal gap language between list price and price it sells for.
Okay, that's good to know. All right, thank you.
100%. No, I would
Yeah.
not. Yeah, no,
Between appraised price.
yeah, because to me, if there's no appraisal gap language in there,
What's
it's
the point?
worthless.
Yeah.
It's
Okay, that's what I
worthless.
thought. All right.
Yep.
Thank you so
So,
much.
but that's also when we're doing, yeah. So when we're doing the escalation clause and stuff like that, and in our area, they know that they're going to have to pretty much do that. But that's also one of the reasons why I use that strategy, because all I'm saying is I'll get it to appraise for 500. You want to offer more than that? You better give me appraisal gap language to cover the difference. Go
Okay,
whatever you
I'm
want.
gonna learn about that more. Thank you so much.
Yep,
This is helpful.
absolutely. Thanks for coming on, everyone, and have a great day. And you've got both of our email addresses for whatever we can do to help.
All
Okay.
right. Thank you.
All right. Have a
Bye
great
bye.
Thank
day.
you. Thank you.
Take care.
Do you have time for a quick question?
I do.
Awesome. So I was with a big team in my area for the last 5 years. I've been in real estate for 6. And so part of our deal was that we had nothing to do with marketing. I was given, I was given a phone call that says, hey, we've got a seller at this address. They want to meet you Friday at noon, blah, blah, blah. And
Right.
so it was a great way to get a lot of transactions under my belt. And I left my team at the end of November. I think we had just outgrown each other. And I feel like the final straw was when I had a $5 million client I had found on my own. And my boss did something that my client ended up like canceling. It was irreparable. So in November, I went out on my own and I joined Real because I love the like integration of technology and outside the box thinking for the brokerage. But I almost feel like I'm stuck in the mud of I don't know where to start with like the best type of marketing. I'm reaching out to my sphere of influence. We have a big I just got my NPR like certification. So and we have a big like military presence here. And we have a big presence of either folks that are retiring and moving here because of the sunshine and beautiful weather, or they're past retirement and kind of moving into like what is their last stage of life? You know, is that assisted living or is it back home with one of the kids? So, like, any ideas for me?
Yeah. So the first thing this is more than a marketing standpoint. It's more of a lead generation situation, which
Yes.
is the number one thing that I tell people. It sounds like it's what you're doing. The number one thing I tell people when they first get in the business is write down every single person you know that might buy or sell real estate from you. And that's your center of influence. And then put them in a systematic database. Do you have a CRM like Lofty
I've
or
got Lofty and I have, I don't know, probably 15 smart plans built into it.
so? Yep, perfect. And then the next thing is that so what you want to do is you want to start figuring out. So the good part is you're already starting to figure out what your niche is. And so like the beginning of this, what we kind of Kathy and I talked about is that we like people our age, and so that group that are starting to retire, they're thinking about selling their regular house and then maybe retiring and moving someplace else, just because we have a tendency to think very similar to them. And so we do a lot of stuff with and one of the things I'm thinking about doing is getting my senior, working with seniors type of designation is one of the things that we're looking into as well. So I always advise people is find out what you enjoy doing, first of all, from a lead gen standpoint. Okay. And so so the difference between a team and a non-team, because I run a team, right? Is the people that want to be on my team are people that don't know how to lead generate. I shouldn't say don't know how to, don't want to. And I even have a hard time getting them to even follow up on the leads that we provide. And we generate about 300 leads a month. Okay. The second part is they need training and mentoring from a negotiating standpoint, and just how to do the business. Okay. But if I was going to be in your situation, the first thing I would try to find out is what are some lead generating techniques that I would enjoy doing. So the first thing I would look at is, do you have open house opportunities to go out and do open houses? Do you like open houses? Do you do them? Okay, so that's a no. Whereas like
I do them, and I've met a few folks in the last 2 months that like are looking like a year out. So I'll continue my relationship with them.
just
And like as far as like negotiating and all those things, I ended up in year 3. I began to mentor any new agents on our team. So like I'm really good at my job. I
perfect.
just don't know how to lead gen.
Do you do any type of social marketing at all? Social
I
media or anything
do.
like that? Do you use
I do a little
Facebook?
bit.
Go ahead.
I do a little bit. I haven't paid for ads, but I'm posting things that like on Nextdoor, and then there's some community pages where I'm like now the top contributor because I'll put like, hey, there's a new Whole Foods coming in, and people are like, no way, great. Like, so I'm getting that. I'm just not getting my phone ringing.
Well, unfortunately, with social media, it's going to take just doing that and being consistent on that. Where people start, where what you want to end up doing is getting to the point where people remember, hey, Jennifer knew about that Whole Foods that came in. She must know the area. And just being consistent with your social. If you've got people commenting, because my social media, which it's not how I get my business, but I have to be there just to have validity and credibility. We don't get a lot of interaction on our social media. So the fact that you are getting people commenting, things like that, just make sure that you're responding back to every single message that you're getting. And then what platforms are you utilizing to to post? Uh, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Oh, so Facebook, and then it automatically posts to Instagram, and then next door. And then I have a YouTube channel, and every single video I've made, I end up not posting it because I hate them. So I'm changing up what I'm doing, and
Post them.
I've been
Post
like
them.
mass watching like how to make things better the easy way. I just watched a couple real guys that do YouTube, and so I've got great tips. And my goal next week is to act like it's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. job where I'm actually going to look at vacant houses and like, so I've got that plan now, and I've got the like my thing was editing the videos, but I finally found a program because I've got CapCut on this other one to edit them a little bit more streamlined instead of getting in the weeds.
Be,
So I'm starting
be
that
care
next.
yeah, be careful about. I call this kind of so I call pulling a K. And what this means is, so I had an agent that she got a couple sales in a certain neighborhood, right? And what we tried to do is we said, hey, well, let's send a postcard out for you in this neighborhood. And every time she wanted to send something out, she wanted to change it, this, that, and the other thing. It ended up being, again, this isn't your situation, but it ended up being 3 months down the road before something got sent out. In that time, 7 houses got listed that she probably would have gotten if she just sent out the mailing the way it was. The thing with social media that I know it is for me, the ones that are really finely edited and like Brad McCallum's and things like that, or just with his tours and Katie Days and some of these other ones, is I don't have a tendency to watch those. I watch the ones that are more unedited, that seem more natural, where someone's just coming out and they wake up in the morning and hey, this is the start of my day as a realtor, and this is where I prioritize my day. And you know what? They're dropping off their kid at school while they're taking a phone call from someone while they're waiting for their child, and then they're in the stands at a soccer game. And none of this is finally edited or anything like that. That's the stuff I look at. But everybody's a little bit different. But I would try both ways. You're finely edited. Also throw some shit up against the wall and see what sticks. You know what I'm saying? I the the thing is, in social media, and again, I'm not a social media guru, and I'm the last person you should probably talk to. But the one thing that I will tell you is your authentic self. People want to see your authentic self, and so sometimes you just need to get that stuff out there, and then let someone else comment on it or something like that. Send it to your friends, send it to your family, and have them look at it and go, "What do you think about this?" And then you do your finely edited one and just get some opinions. But so do you have interests? Do you play pickleball? Do you go work out? Do you have kids where you go to PTA meetings, things like that? Do you have any of those types of things that you do?
Our four boys, the youngest is in college. We definitely work out. We hike, we kayak. Super big stock nerds. I usually make more money a year in the 2 hours a day I spend on stocks and real estate. I think I craft. Those are like my hobbies.
Yep. So what we have a tendency to find is that people want to do business that have similar business with people that have similar interests to them. So if you belong to like the Sierra Club, or I'm just using term, I don't know if there's a local group or like a local hikers group or a local investing group, Or if you have if you have kind of an affinity about investing, what about why not start about like like a mom's guide or empty nester guide to investing, where a real person giving you real financial, I mean, you got to be careful about giving out advice, but that would be something I'd watch. And if you're, hey, these are, these are some trends that I'm looking at in the financial markets, because I have a tendency to see that the financial markets mirror the real estate market pretty damn close. Look at real broker stock right now and what all the stocks are all their 52-week low because of all the other stuff going on in the economic markets. Or you even do something like to get to know real broker people. I'm going to analyze real broker stock. And there actually is an investor group, I believe, on WorkVivo. That's investors and real broker. So those interests are going to be, you're going to have other people that have those interests with you. And the other part is going to be letting them know or think, how long you've been in the business?
Since 2000, so 6 years.
So a long time. 2020, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I would be doing is just making sure people know that you're in real estate and you have similar interests. Okay. What that is the hardest part that's the easiest business you can get. It's the hardest business for me to get because you'll never guess, I'm an extreme introvert. I'm an introvert. So I don't go out and do all those things that you're doing. And that's where I drop the ball on prospecting. I wish I had those opportunities. That's something that think about it. If you were going to go do something, wouldn't you rather use someone in one of those groups or someone that has similar interests to you to help you with something? And then your kids, are any of them local college at all or no?
So all the kids live, well, three of the kids live in Arizona, one lives in Indiana.
Okay. So I mean, it's just anything that you can kind of, I mean, or if they're coming home and they're going out and hang out with some friends or something like that, I mean, just hang out with people that share similar interests. Open houses are a way that I built my business because being an introvert and I'm also a body reader. I can tell standing in front of somebody if it's going to be someone I can work with or not. And when I do open houses, I'm trying to find one person that I can work with. But as I tell people, when they come in, they're kind of looking at me as would I want to work with this person? I'm doing the same thing. I'm looking at them going, is this someone that I'd want to assist in helping buy or sell a house? And getting face to face, there's nothing that can replace getting belly to belly with somebody, because no one cares what you know until they know you care. And the best way to really create a connection is face to face. That's why I always say the biggest way to miscommunicate something in a negotiation is send it by text or by email.
Right? Oh my gosh. It drives me nuts when agents send big information and don't even bother to say, hey, I just sent you an email. Like, pick up the phone.
100%. And but if you can get in front of people, and then that was my big aha moment in my real estate career was, I sold shoes to get through college and never wanted to do sales. Absolutely hated sales. Went kicking and screaming into this commission sale thing. Ended up being one of the top 5 in the entire company out of 5,000 people working 30 hours a week. And then had one of my clients say, Dave, I finished my degree and actually was pursuing a master's. And then they say, you should get into real estate. Got into real estate. Anyways, was in it for 6 months. And then my godparents listed their house with another person. And I called them up and said, what's up with this? And they said, oh my gosh, Dave, we totally forgot that you were in real estate. And that was my aha moment, that I hadn't done a good enough job to let people know that I was in real estate. Okay. And so the thing now is what you want to do is get it out there. And no one wants to, you don't want to go hand someone your card and stuff like that. Is just get it out there that you're in real estate, you're on your own now, and you're looking for new, you're open to working with new clients, and just get that vibe out there. Okay. And then what will happen is if you go to a house block party or something like that, someone will know that you're in real estate. They'll bring up the conversation to you, and then other people will hear it and stuff like that. And you just start talking real estate. And then, do you have a significant other or anything like that? Have them talking about the fact that you're in real estate. Have your boys talking about you're in
Thank
real
you.
estate.
He's an engineer.
The hard part about the hard part about that is working with engineers is a thing in and of itself.
Yes.
But he knows people that will want to buy and sell real estate. And
And I did start in my neighborhood, I started a bunco group just to meet like new, it's 12 new women that I wouldn't have met that's from our neighborhood. And another gentleman I talked to, so I joined Real under a gentleman, and everything that he said was going to happen, none of it's happened. So it was not as smooth and seamless as I thought. I am definitely on my own 100%, but I'm a big girl. I will figure it out. But one of his recommendations was like, now that you're on your own, start doing more of the things you love. And I do enjoy meeting women and empowering them. And then there's a little bar by our house that has like a game every Tuesday. It's like Family Feud.
yep,
So we're meeting new folks through that. Um,
perfect.
so
Those
I'm
are the
starting
types of things.
to enjoy.
Those are going to get you so much further than even like the social media stuff and stuff. And another one that I would recommend is if you have the financial capability of doing it, is do a geographical farm. And since you said you live in a neighborhood, I would do a geographical farm. So that was my two ways that I built my business was open houses and geographical farming. And I actually got up to a point where I had a 30,000 person farm that I sent out on a monthly basis. And there was one particular neighborhood that I farmed, and I ended up getting 88. It was a new construction neighborhood. I got 88 of the first 100 resales in that neighborhood from just being in there. But so what you want to do is I would get all the people in your neighborhood, put them in a database, your geographical farm. Then I would send something out once a month to them, even if it's something like, "Hey, want to invite you to this, Family Feud or whatever type of thing at a local bar up the way here," or hey, if you're someone that's new and you want to join our women's group or something like that, reach out to me. Okay. Hey, I just had this great meal and want to send out the recipe. Okay. And then what will end up happening is they'll start recognizing your name in the neighborhood. And then initially, almost everybody just assumes that, why wouldn't I list with somebody in my neighborhood? Because they have an incentive to get as much money as possible in the neighborhood. And then you get that first listing, then they see your sign go in the ground, and then you do your first open house, and then you can circle market or send something out in the neighborhood saying, "Hey, I want to welcome you to my listing. Hey, if you want to just see what's going on in the neighborhood, it's always a good idea. Just keep an idea. Come see me at the open house on Sunday." Then you get that sold. Then they see the sold sign go out. Okay. And then real estate is nothing but branding. It's branding. So do you see behind me that DMA real estate? That's my brand. And everything I do,
Surfboards behind me.
yeah, that's great. But that's my brand. And so everything that I do puts out that brand. And I went through 3 iterations of my brand because initially I was David Mueller, then I was David Mueller and Associates, and then I said, well, one day it's not going to be David Mueller showing up at someone's. That was my goal. That wasn't going to be David Mueller showing up for a listing appointment. It was going to be someone else on my team, and they're going to go, well, where's David Mueller? And so that's why I went to the DMA real estate. Also, people couldn't spell my last name. But the thing is that your brand is what I always tell people is you want to become the Kleenex of your neighborhood. And what I mean by becoming the Kleenex is if you ask somebody, what do you blow your nose with? Right? Um, I'd say
Kleenex.
9 out of 10 people will say Kleenex, and that's not accurate. You're blowing your nose with facial tissue. You're using Kleenex because Kleenex has associated their name with facial tissue to the point where they're so recognized with that product that they now are what everyone speaks about. What you ultimately want to do is every time someone thinks about buying or selling in your neighborhood, they think of Jennifer. Okay. Even if they're going to talk to multiple people, you have an opportunity to go through and do that. Okay. Anytime, and then there's something called, you ever heard of a term called reticular activating system? So, real quickly, this is why it's important to be consistent. You set up a 12-month farm in your neighborhood, send out something once a month, and it doesn't have to be a direct mail. It can be different things. You may want to set up a Facebook group just for just your neighborhood or something like that. But you send something out once a month. And so let's say the second time, third time, someone's getting your postcard or whatever it is, but they're not thinking about buying or selling. They see it, but it goes in their subconscious. It's not top of mind right then and there. They'll put it in, they'll shred it or whatever. And you think, I just wasted my time. And what happens, like, let's say about the sixth time is one of your neighbors gets relocated. They get the call that they're being transferred, relocated to Hawaii. Okay. Now they're being told you're going to have to come out here and live, and you got to get your house on the market as soon as possible. We need you out here in the next 30 days. So now they're thinking, oh shit, I got to find a realtor. I got to get my house on the market. And then just the day before you sent your sixth postcard, they get it and go, man, Jennifer's been sending me something for a while now. And she's one of my neighbors. She lives in my neighborhood. I should call her to list my house. Okay. The biggest problem with that is most agents, they'll stop after the second or the third time. And they don't realize people are seeing their stuff, but they haven't acted to it yet because there hasn't been a need. Now, everything that comes into the periphery of that person that's being relocated, transferred, anything real estate related, now they're globbing onto and they're seeing it 100%. And I used to get 3 or 4 calls a day from those geographical farmings. I listed 3 or 4 houses in a day from those things. Now it's with social media and all this other stuff. Direct mail is not as effective as it used to be. But we talk about getting niches. One of your niches should be your neighborhood, because I'd want to list my house with someone in my neighborhood. The things that you're active in, like you talked about with the hiking and things like that, let those people know. You may even want to get names and numbers, or if there's a club, and just put them in your database. So, and then because people want to do business with people that have similar interests to them. Okay.
So my neighborhood has almost 1,800 homes.
Yep. Perfect. The one I farmed was 680 homes. Then a new one went into that one with another 700 homes. That was 1,300. And then I ended up doing about 10 other subdivisions where I ended up getting about 20,000. 1,800. So the other part to think about is something called every door direct mail, which if you want to do things for cheaper, you can do. If you want to go by more like it's your postal codes or postal routes, you can do every door direct mail for about half price of what a regular mailing would be. Okay. So I live in a town called Pinckney, Michigan. It's right outside of Ann Arbor. There's 9,300 people in my zip code, right? I send out a postcard every month to 9,300 people, every door direct mail. And that costs me, it's not cheap. I mean, it used to be 2,500, it's probably about 3,500 now, but I get one listing from that 9,300 people I sent that out to, average um, houses around 300,000, 3% commission, it's $9,000. And most of the time I'm getting multiple calls and things like that. I'm also getting recognition. And then the other part I do is there's a thing called Pinckney Players. There's not a whole lot of culture in Pinckney. It's more of a redneck town, which we're proud of. But we have got this playhouse. I'm their season sponsor. And so every time there's a play, I'll send something out. I also send out tickets to all my clients. Hey, who wants free tickets? I end up buying probably an extra 50 to 100 tickets as well. They give me some free tickets for my sponsorship, but I am buying some too to just get in front of those people and also give something of value to my clients.
So something like, because I know, so spring training's a big deal here in Arizona because the weather is so beautiful. So like, technically I missed an opportunity. I could have gone to the spring training facility and gotten $15 tickets for the grass and posted and blasted on social media like, hey, I'm, you know, giving away these tickets. Like,
Yep, that's a really good way because you're giving something of value. You're not asking something from them, and it just gets you in front of, oh, this is really cool. We've got people that will offer Detroit Lions tickets, Detroit Tigers tickets. One person real is a former Detroit Tiger player, Andy Dirks, and he's also now the broadcast announcer for TV for them. But yep, those are great ways of doing it. Offer
you're
something of
saying
value.
that though that direct mail is pricey, like just bite the bullet and start it.
It's an investment, but there's no other way to really hit that. And to me, because of the fact that everyone else is doing social media and all these other mediums, direct mail is not getting, there's not many people using it. I used to get this stack of mail every day, probably 5 years ago. I get a couple of postcards maybe a day now. In I go to a lot of these listing appointments, and there's my postcard up on their refrigerator.
What are um what are your call to action? So besides something informative, like what do
So
you call to
the
action?
my call to action is going to be more of, would you like a, hey, do you really know what your house is worth, or what is your house value? And then I'll have like a QR code where they can go to my home bot, and that's my little thing where they can go in and put their numbers in. It'll spit out an AVM like a Zillow's estimate. Now, the other part about HomeBot that's cool, it'll also go through and it'll find out their mortgage, they'll tell them their equity, it will tell them, hey, if you sold now, this is what you would walk away with and things like that. That's what I'm sending out, is something like that. But more what I'm doing is every time I sell something or list something, they're just seeing that, they're seeing success that I have. And then they'll also see that I'm a contributor and I contribute money to Pinckney. So I do all those different things. And I don't always want to ask them for something. I want to give them something as well. And then the other part would just be, just getting, hey, do you want to discuss what the market's doing? Let me know. And there's not too many people in Pinckney that have sold 5,500 homes. So I've got credibility and validity with them and things like that. So I do a lot of it's strategic, but some of my stuff is spray and pray too. Some of my stuff is spray and pray, but everything's done professionally. It's all done with the branding so that everything that you go, oh, that's DMA. That's DMA. So, and that's the thing that you want to do is you're promoting your brand more than anything else.
So the other thing about me, this is my third career. When I graduated high school, the first time I went to college was for interior design, and I owned my own design studio until the crash in 2008. And even my corporate clients, like my commercial work, they were like, send us an invoice, we're stopping the project. So at that time, my middle son has passed away since then, but he
Oh, I'm
had
sorry to hear that.
significant special needs. He had a muscle disease, and his needs were getting more. I needed a very strategic job. And that's when I went back to school and to go into education, working to keep the districts from just bleeding money to lawsuits. So
All right.
I had my kids' hours, so it made, life with special needs kid. So
Yep.
my long story short, like I also have that interior design where I was a successful designer. It just the working weekends and evenings wasn't conducive for 3 young kids. Kind of got in the way.
Have you ever done staging?
I mean, I'll go through and after I've gotten listing documents, I'll say, hey, let me come back in a couple days when all this has sunk in, and we're gonna walk through your house because I don't want to drill them to the ground right before they sign documents with me. And I'll come back and I'll be like, these are all the things we need to do. So I
So,
stage like that. I've never like professionally staged. I have
Mhm.
a professional high-end stager.
So one of the things that, from what I just heard, I know what I would do. I would send something out within my neighborhood or whatever area that I'm trying to do business, and I would say, I'm when you list with me, you'll get a free staging consultation. I'm a licensed interior designer. I have this experience. I can help you, stage your home correctly to get top dollar, and that will be a free staging consultation, along with
But I
all
do
the
it
other
the way,
services I provide. What was that?
so value add. So a value add.
100%. And I just lost a listing because I'm not a big believer in staging, and someone else basically said that it should be staged, and they have their stager and things like that. I lost a listing because of that. And 100% that a buyer wants um, that a seller wants someone that understands staging, and that would definitely be a value add, especially if they don't have to pay. Many of the people, like in this area, they'll stick their clients with a staging bill or to have a staging consultation. I'm offering a free staging consultation because I'm a licensed or was a licensed interior designer. I think that would be a great teaser.
Hold on. Okay.
Yep, yep.
Awesome sauce. Well, do you know any of your clients moving to the Arizona area?
I don't right now. I actually have 3 relatives that live there, so if they ever need us to sell, I'll definitely send them your way. And I've got. Do I have your contact info? Yep. Wait, nope, I don't. You've got my. Just shoot me an email with your contact information. It's the David at DMA Real Estate, and then I'll put you in my phone as well. And then we get anyone going
What
out your
was
neck.
your?
It's
I
the
said,
David, if it's in the chat thing, but it's David at dmarealestate.com. So David at then DMA, David Mary Apple realestate.com.
okay.
All right. And then
Well,
you've
thank you.
got you've got all these ways to contact me too if you have any questions or anything I can help facilitate with. That's the thing you'll
Awesome.
find. It's one of the one things you'll find out with Real Broker. It's extremely everyone wants to help each other out because we all have the same common goal: build a company we're proud of.
Awesome. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate you.
All
Nice to
right.
meet you.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.